I think the main point of contention the past week, I'd say over everything on the TL, which I'm sure you've seen as well, is the age difference between Davide and Gemma and the fact that they are now in a couple.
When he come in, obviously all the girls were like, oh, and when it was like Gemma, I was like, so I was obviously, when you're watching, you're trying to think like, oh, who would he go for? Yeah. I genuinely did not put Gemma in the running because I was like, surely he's not gonna go for her because she's way too young.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a question of why she on the show in the first place. Like, she has not even given life a chance, you know?
Yeah.
Like 19.
When you're 19, you haven't really experienced life, and I can say that now looking back at myself at 19.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But even at the time as well, you're very like, the way you are is still okay. Yeah, you're a young adult, but you're fresh out. You're actually fresh out of like college.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Literally,
you're fresh out of college. That is not. I don't know, because
for context, if people haven't been watching Love Island, Gemma just happens to be Michael Owen's daughter for that as well. She is 19 years old. She just turned 19. Davide is 27, and they are in a couple. So that's a 8-year difference, possibly nearly 9 if Davide is yet to turn 28 this year. We don't know. But outside of Love Island, this is like a really interesting topic, like age gaps in relationships, right? Because just to give my stance on this, first of all, I like, on paper, when you see this type of thing, immediately you're like, oh my gosh, red flag. I think because we're so used to seeing like sort of particularly older men sort of act in a predatory nature towards young impressionable girls, like say that are like nearing the end of like high school, like age like 16 sort of thing, where like they know that they're getting towards being a official adult, and they kind of want to maybe feel like they're more adult, and they will go for these older men who are more than happy to kind of be like a bit, I will say, creepy, because like a lot of the time, like it is like, if you're way older, why are you going for people that are still in school? It's weird.
Like, I'm sorry, let's just say it as it is. If you're a grown man and you're going for kids, like you're going for girls that are like significantly younger than it's not just the age gap as well, it's the context, right? Because the context is that they've just come out of school, you know, they've just come out of school, like, or they're still in school, or they're still in college. Why are you doing that?
I think that's the important thing. The important thing is context, right? So with young girls that are very obviously still in school, and I think you can also tell there's that sense of like immaturity there, that like you say, it's obviously like, why would you not just go for someone that you're obviously going to meet in life?
Like
where are you meeting these 16-year-old girls?
Yeah,
right? However, age gaps in general, I think over the years I've come to realize I have maybe sort of like, I've jumped the gun quite a bit. And this is especially given, like, I think quite a few of my friends are actually in relationships where there is like a notable age difference. And the thing is, before, if you'd given that to me on paper, I would have been like, absolutely not.
Because I think it depends. I think it really, really depends.
Exactly.
Because it's I think once you reach a certain age, the age gap doesn't matter anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like once you're decisively not a child, I think 25, actually, like 24, 25 is like the cutoff age. I think when you are decisively not a child, not a young adult anymore, I think your mid-20s, like you are in your mid-20s now, you are unmistakably, conclusively, categorically an adult, not a young adult, an adult, right? That's the point at which I don't think age differences matter like that much, right?
I think as well, though, like, just to put this into context, I'm obviously not going to name names, and I don't want to put their actual relationship up for debate, but this is just how I've come to sort of realize that it really does depend on like context. I've got friends who were in those relationships, and I think if you said that on paper, that you would be like, oh, this is like, I don't know about this, but honestly, their relationship is so strong, and they're like literally the longest couple that I've known that have been together. and they're engaged, and they literally have and they're two of the like nicest people, like very like mature, and also they've met through work.
I was gonna say that matters. How if it was an organic like relationship, if it's like a man specifically going out, and because men do this, men specifically pick young women that they know are not completely formed in themselves, so that they can manipulate and like make the girl who their version of like what woman they want, right?
But exactly. This is the thing. I think two of the people that I talked about before, they've met through work, so it's not like the older person has gone out of their way to find someone who is younger than them. They've met in a place of work, become friends, and then it's gone further. For me personally, I think when you at that sort of age where you're finishing high school, like going to uni, or becoming like in the eyes of the law, an adult, just because you're an adult, it doesn't mean that you have experienced life. I think that's the important thing. I think, and because, like I say, because I've seen relationships where it has worked, and because I can't imagine the people with anyone else now. I think it very much depends on the people. I
think you really have to, if you are a young girl or a younger girl, and you go for a man who has this, who's significantly older than you, and also, by the way, like GEMMA and Davide's that's quite a lot. 8 years, like 8 years at 19. That's a lot. Like if you think about like, because to be fair, even like 18 and 23, or like 19 and 24 is still, you're still in that same bracket of like young adulthood, right?
Like on surveys it's always like 18 to 25,
right?
Isn't
Exactly.
Like,
so you're still in that same bracket, but 19 to 28, so this is like when you're literally just fresh legal to now, like you're approaching 30.
We were literally talking about, we were saying 27 the other day, when 27 is like the age which
right,
like,
exactly. So that is I think for me a very decisive age difference that just should not be pursued. I think like
it is mad though, because it's like,
at least until the girl is older.
But it's mad though, because it's like, obviously we can all think what we think, but then in the eyes of the law, it's fine. And I don't think people should necessarily wade into relationships like that, because like I say, there are ones that do. I don't think there should be like a blanket statement, you know what I mean? Because
that's true. If it is a situation where it's like, look, you haven't met someone with the intention, like if you're I think the responsibility actually is more on the man than the woman, right? Because also we're saying man and woman, but like the older person, right, is more on the older person than the younger one, because they are like the more, if age is anything to go by, gonna be more responsible, more mature, etc. Chances are, if you're 18, 19, like it's probably your first relationship or your first serious relationship, or you're new to the dating world and things like that. And I think there's a big difference between if they meet a younger person and it happens organically, the romance happens organically, as opposed to them meeting someone and immediately chirps in, right? Because what business do you as a 28-year-old man have chirps in a 19-year-old girl? If you happened organically to kind of like fall for her and develop feelings, having got to know her as a person, that's different.
Do we think that Love Island is an organic setting though?
No, it's not, but that's my point. Like if you as a man have come onto a show like Love Island, where any woman that you're talking to is only in one context, you're not talking to any woman as a friend, you should be avoiding that 19-year-old, because what business do you have to actually approach a 19-year-old on a romantic level when you're 28? And also you could tell from watching her, she's quite immature, like she's quite emotionally immature,
like, and that's not necessarily anything to do with her as an individual, it's just her as a 19-year-old. Like I think like even like us at 19, way less mature than now. Like I feel like I have a completely different outlook on life, and like know a lot more than I did then.
Absolutely.